Sa NCCA segment, samahan natin ang National Commission for Culture and the Arts sa mga programa na naglalayong magpayaman ng ating kaalaman sa larangan at sining at kultura. Tunghayan natin ang naganap na Posporo Press Conference sa NCCA Intramuros.
Para sa National Commission for Culture and the Arts ay ang naganap na press conference sa main lobby ng NCCA Building, Intramuros, Manila. Ang nasabing press conference ay inorganisa ng National Commission for Culture and the Arts, Embassy of Spain, Instituto Cervantes, at local musicians na ang layunin ay pagsamahin ang kanilang talento sa pamamagitan ng isang konsyertong may titulong Posporos. Ang Posporo ay ginagamit na simbolo ng pagtatagitab o spark sa pagitan ng mga musikerong Filipino at Espanyol.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the NCCA Chairman and National Artist Virgilio S. Armando, it is with a warm and bright heart that we welcome you to this press conference of the second Posporo concert series sponsored by the Embassy of Spain in the Philippines, Instituto Cervantes, and the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. Last year, we saw the sparks light up the Manila concert scene with guest performances from renowned Spanish musicians teaming up with our very own local indie acts. This year, we wish to recreate those sparks and have them light up the music industry as we bring you once again Posporos. Posporos is a series of concerts where Filipino and Spanish acts play alongside each other, showcasing the best of the repertoire of their own brand of music. It gives special attention and hopes to give audiences a better appreciation of the alternative music scene while encouraging the public to support live concert venues. Well, for this specific engagement, to promote live music venues within Metro Manila. The NCCA, as the primary government agency mandated to promote and safeguard Filipino culture and arts, is thrilled to be part yet again of Posporos and is pleased to renew its commitment in further strengthening our cultural ties with institutions and artists that share with us our roots and our undeniable passion for music. Incidentally, this is just one among many others that we will be engaged in as we commemorate the 70th anniversary of the Philippine-Spain bilateral relations this year. Now, as we set out towards the second offering of this musical series, Filipino musicians and Spanish acts are once again joining together to celebrate music and create another bright and sparkling musical experience. We also recognize our venue and event partners who believed in the success of the series and will help us host our concert series this year. To our friends from the media, we hope that you will help Posporos unite a wider audience this year and have the Spanish and Filipino indie music scene shine brighter. Again, welcome to the NCCA and sparks up for Posporos 2017. We've assembled an exciting lineup of speakers this morning to tell us more about our projects. To start off is the director of the Instituto Cervantes in Manila, Senor Carlos Maduro.
I'm just going to say a few remarks. The concept of Posporo that they have put together is the story of success. As you know, Spain has a cultural program going all year through and we try to cover as many sites as possible. Movies, civics, conferences, publications, and independent contemporary music was pending matter that has been perfectly covered since 2016 by Posporo. Posporo brings the best of independent music from the Philippines with different genres, and independent music with different genres from Spain. Having them side by side together is a treat for all the eyes and the ears, and as part of the cultural activities of Spain and the Philippines, we are privileged to be part of it. Just as a reminder, before I turn over, we will be having another cultural center in Intramuros very soon, Casa Azul, will be the cultural center of Spain in the Philippines. But that being said, we're looking forward to have many more Posporos in the future and to see you guys in the upcoming celebrations.
Philippines of what the Spaniards are doing in this field of work, and it happens the other way around. So the first attempt to familiarize both countries with the reality of this kind of music was done last year successfully. We gathered even more support from Spain, from our institutions, to make a better and bigger lineup, this year. And we are happy that we have some new partners with us that I have to acknowledge. Okay, let me just go very briefly. So from the private sector, we should also add the agency Agadic from Galicia in Spain, the program touring music halls Girando por Salas from Spain. I will elaborate maybe later on that. And from the private sector, we have De La Salle College of Saint Benilde with us from the Academe, Meralco Foundation, One Music.ph, SQOE, Element Boutique Hotel, Yupanco, and of course Team Manila for the design. We are happy as well, as Ms. Annie Louise was mentioning, to have gathered support from venues that are helping us fully, like Small House, Historia, and Conspiracy, and we are still identifying the two last venues for the program. So just to go over the philosophy of Posporos again, that my colleague Carlos Madrid depicted perfectly. This is not a festival, okay? This is a program that is held during many months, and it is not only about concerts, okay? The Spanish musicians come here, spend a week, they get to know their Philippine counterparts, the Filipinos, and Diego Mata will maybe tell us about his experience last year, but are a fundamental part of the project. It's a human project of having professionals from the music sector coming to another country and sharing experiences.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you our Filipino curator for this year's edition of Posporos, who is also a musician and a member of the bands Talahib, People's Music, and Tropical Depression. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bern Belacho.
Magandang araw po. I'm humbled to be this year's curator of Posporos Music Concert Series, and very thankful to Spanish Embassy and NCCA for giving Philippine music scene another great platform to showcase international interaction with the Spanish artists, to exhibit engagement through in-depth musical exchange, which we hope will trigger creative sparks from the match-ups of the Filipino and Spanish talents, which is Posporos is all about. This year's edition of Posporos is another showcase of great talents from Spain and Philippines, matching them up like Posporos, igniting to create spark, exposing to each other's nature, cultural exchange as its primary objective. Posporos is another opportunity to enrich individual musicianship between these artists, but also to a certain extent demonstrate that music is a universal experience and can bridge many lines of division, including cultures and distances. The artists represented in this year's Posporos are considerably well placed in their own musical landscapes and in their musicianship. As a sharing to cultural dialogue through, it is best to describe the currents of the Philippine music. Today, there are lots of maturing, developing artists and new talents. There is a surge of experiments in their styles and genres, yet unfortunately, venues are depleting or dwindling because of economics. Music labels are diminishing, that's also why musicians go indie, and as a result, they are constrained to self-produce their own records and events. But despite all of these limitations, the music scene is ever frenetic and exciting, and we are sure to harvest a lot of talent. We encourage institutions and government to keep supporting programs like this. This is a new arena to keep aflame and inspire not just musicians, but also local music bars, producers, sound techs, sound engineers, road managers, production crew, and other personalities behind music industry, and as a result, not just help contribute to cultural economies, but cultural in general.
Now we are very honored to have with us this morning one of the participating artists that were featured in last year's Posporos. He is a member of the band Tarsius, and to give us more insights about his experiences last year, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Diego Mapa.
Actually, I'm here to share my experience for joining the Posporos Festival last year. Actually, I didn't think much of my Spanish community here in Manila before Posporos. So I was just playing my regular gigs, playing with Tarsius. I'm also active in other bands. Pedicab, if you're more familiar with it. Monsterbot, I've been active since 1997 in the recording and live scene in Manila. So Isabel, one of the organizers of Posporos, came up to us in one of our gigs in Route 196, this is in Quezon City, and invited us to be part of this festival, which is a Pinoy band playing alongside a Spanish band, right? And then Tarsius, if you don't know, is an electronic band. I'm on a laptop, and I have a buddy with my Jay, who's from another band called Radioactive Sagwa Project, and he plays drums, and we play electronic music. And then the band who we're gonna play together with is DeLorean, who I also DJ once in a while, and I used to play their music. So finally, I'm gonna get to meet them in this event.
Sinundan ito ng question and answer portion.
Yes, okay. So, if when the schedule
By 15, that's at a social house in Makati. So the first 2 months, years. So I am able to promote the bars as well.
Making a press release for each concert. So we will be launching the press release of the first gig, the fan page of Posporos in Facebook, which is shared both by Instituto Cervantes, the NCCA.
I had an opportunity to work very closely with Instituto Cervantes for Dia del Galion, for Escuelas Talleres, but is it possible for the inclusion of what you call very good handicapable artists in the concert?
All Spanish policies have an element of integration of people with handicaps, also in the cultural realm. Tourism organization, we have drafted a code, a regulation.
At ang highlights ng press conference ay ang simbolo ng Posporos, tanda ng pagsindi ng liwanag at pagkakaisa ng dalawang bansa. At sa tagpong ito ay aming nakapanayam ang First Secretary Embassy of Spain in the Philippines na si Guillermo Escribano tungkol sa nasabing press conference.
Series of concerts. Okay, it's an ongoing project that started last year and will be going on this year until November, starting in June 3. And the main purpose is to put together on stage Philippine and Spanish bands coming from the indie music scene.
Sir, why do you choose Posporos as the name of your concert?
Well, you know that the Spanish and Filipino language share around 4,000 words, and Posporos is one of our favorites. It's in Spanish, it's pronounced Posporos, and we liked the idea of having a common word as an umbrella for the project, and a word that also means matches, and the idea of matching 2 bands together and generating sparks and igniting fire. Some of them have done already some gigs abroad, and they have international experience. Of course, not a lot, because normally they're young bands, but you can imagine that Spain, due to the language, has a big market in Latin America, and it's quite common that our bands start touring abroad. But for instance, the concert of September, where the Flying EPs are going to meet Agoraphobia from Spain, both bands met at a huge festival and music fair called South by Southwest in Austin, in Texas. It's a reference in the world of music. So they're young, but they're already quite experienced. I would like you to invite the Philippine audience and all music lovers from Metro Manila to come to this little but precious project called Posporo. It's pure magic and I'm sure you will enjoy. Thank you.
Ang katatapos na press conference ng Posporos ay naglalayo na itaas ang antas ng musika ng dalawang bansa. Ito'y isang paraan na maiparating natin ang kultura ng musikang Filipino at matuto sa musika ng ibang bansa.
Huwag po kayong aalis at magbabalik ang Lakbayin ang maganda.